Number 1. Extreme heat becomes the tournament's biggest opponent. The 2026 World Cup will be spread across the United States, Canada, and Mexico, creating the largest tournament in football history. While that sounds exciting, one of the darkest predictions has nothing to do with football itself. It involves the weather. Several host cities are expected to experience intense summer temperatures, especially during afternoon matches. Players today already cover more distance and perform more high-intensity sprints than ever before. Add extreme heat into that equation, and the physical strain becomes enormous. Sports scientists have repeatedly warned that high temperatures can reduce stamina, slow recovery, and increase the risk of dehydration. The fear is that some matches could become battles of survival rather than displays of skill. Teams with deeper squads may gain a huge advantage simply because they can rotate more players. Fans could also be affected by long hours in the sun before entering stadiums. If temperatures rise higher than expected, World Cup 2026 could become remembered not for brilliant football, but for the conditions players were forced to endure. Number 2. Fixture congestion causes a wave of major injuries. Modern football players are already operating at their physical limits. Many stars now play over 50 matches per season, while also handling international duties, long flights, and commercial commitments. One dark prediction surrounding World Cup 2026 is that the overloaded calendar finally reaches a breaking point. Because the tournament has expanded to 48 teams, more matches will be played than ever before. Many players will arrive after exhausting domestic seasons with little time to recover. History has shown how quickly injuries can change a World Cup. A single torn ligament or muscle strain can destroy years of preparation in seconds. The nightmare scenario is seeing multiple global superstars miss the tournament entirely due to injuries suffered just weeks before kickoff. Fans dream of watching the best players compete against each other on the biggest stage. Instead, they could be left wondering what might have happened if everyone had arrived healthy. For some nations, one injury could completely alter their chances of lifting the trophy. Number 3. The expanded format creates more defensive football. The expansion from 32 teams to 48 teams was designed to give more nations a chance to participate. While many celebrate that opportunity, critics have a darker prediction. They believe the new structure could encourage more cautious football. Smaller nations entering the tournament may focus almost entirely on avoiding defeat rather than chasing victories. Instead of attacking freely, teams could spend 90 minutes defending deep and hoping for a counterattack or set piece. Coaches understand that 1 point can sometimes be enough to keep qualification hopes alive. As a result, risk-taking often disappears. The concern is that more matches become tactical stalemates, with very few chances created. Supporters travel across the world hoping to witness unforgettable moments, dramatic goals, and attacking brilliance. A tournament dominated by fear and caution would be the exact opposite. The World Cup has always been football's greatest spectacle. The darkest prediction suggests that expansion could unintentionally reduce the entertainment value that made the competition legendary in the first place. Number 4. Crowd trouble overshadows. The football World Cups are supposed to unite people from every corner of the planet, but one of the darkest predictions for 2026 is that crowd incidents steal headlines away from the matches themselves. With 3 host nations, 16 host cities, and millions of traveling supporters expected to attend, security operations will face enormous pressure. Football history has repeatedly shown how quickly tensions can escalate when passionate rival fan bases collide. A controversial referee decision, political disagreements, or even simple crowd mismanagement can create dangerous situations. The fear is not just isolated fights inside stadiums, but large-scale disturbances in fan zones, transportation hubs, and city centers. Social media can also amplify problems instantly, turning local incidents into global stories within minutes. Organizers have spent years preparing for these challenges, yet the sheer scale of the tournament makes complete control almost impossible. The nightmare scenario is waking up each morning to headlines about crowd disorder rather than spectacular goals. If that happens, the tournament's legacy could be damaged long after the final whistle has blown. Number 5. Technology creates the tournament's biggest controversy. Football has embraced technology more than ever before, but many fans still believe the game has not found the perfect balance between accuracy and emotion. One dark prediction for World Cup 2026 is that a major technological decision becomes the defining moment of the tournament. VAR was introduced to eliminate clear mistakes, yet it continues to generate debate almost every week. Offside decisions measured by millimeters, handball interpretations, and lengthy reviews often leave supporters frustrated even when the correct decision is made. Imagine a World Cup semifinal or final being decided by a controversial review that millions of people disagree with. The discussion would immediately overshadow the match itself. Instead of celebrating the champions, fans would spend years arguing about the decision. Technology is supposed to reduce controversy, but football has repeatedly shown that new systems often create different arguments rather than eliminate them entirely. The darkest prediction is that the biggest story of 2026 will not be a goal, a player, or a team, but a screen review that changes football history forever. Number 6. Smaller nations become victims of the expanded tournament. The expansion to 48 teams has been promoted as an opportunity for more countries to experience the World Cup. However, some observers fear a much darker outcome. Several nations could arrive full of excitement only to face brutal reality against the sport's traditional giants. The quality gap between elite football powers and emerging nations can still be enormous. Critics worry that certain matches could become extremely one-sided, resulting in humiliating scorelines on the biggest stage. For players representing smaller countries, reaching the World Cup is often the greatest achievement of their careers. Suffering a crushing defeat in front of a global audience could become a painful memory instead. The concern extends beyond individual results. If multiple teams struggle badly, questions will immediately emerge about whether the expansion was the right decision. Supporters want inspiring underdog stories similar to Morocco's incredible run in 2022, not a series of mismatches. The darkest prediction is that some nations spend years chasing their World Cup dream, only to discover that the gap to the top remains far larger than anyone expected. Number 7. A refereeing mistake decides the final. Every World Cup produces controversial decisions, but one of the darkest predictions for 2026 is that the biggest mistake happens in the biggest match. The World Cup final is watched by hundreds of millions of people, meaning every decision is examined from countless angles. Despite modern technology, referees still operate under immense pressure and must make split-second judgments. A missed foul, an incorrect penalty, a disputed red card, or even a misunderstood VAR review could completely change the outcome of the tournament. The fear is not simply that a mistake occurs, but that it determines who lifts the trophy. Football history is filled with controversial moments that remain debated decades later. Imagine a nation waiting generations for World Cup glory only to lose because of a decision many believe was wrong. The darkest prediction is that one controversial call becomes the defining moment of the entire tournament. Number 8. Host nation. Pressure becomes too heavy. Playing a World Cup at home sounds like a dream, but history has shown that home advantage can quickly become overwhelming pressure. With the United States, Canada, and Mexico sharing hosting duties, expectations will be enormous. Millions of fans, non-stop media attention, and constant scrutiny can transform excitement into anxiety. Every training session, every press conference, and every result becomes national news. Players are expected to carry the hopes of entire countries on their shoulders. The darkest prediction is that one or more host nations collapse under the weight of expectation. A poor start, an upset defeat, or growing criticism from the media could quickly damage confidence. Instead of inspiring performances fueled by home support, nervousness could spread throughout the squad and turn a dream tournament into a painful disappointment. Number 9. Political and social tensions dominate headlines. The World Cup has always been more than football. It attracts governments, media organizations, corporations, and global audiences unlike any other sporting event. One dark prediction for 2026 is that political and social controversies become larger stories than the matches themselves. Modern football exists in an era where every statement, protest, and disagreement can instantly become international news. The concern is that ongoing global tensions could spill into the tournament environment. Instead of discussing goals, tactics, and unforgettable performances, conversations may revolve around disputes far removed from the pitch. The nightmare scenario is a tournament remembered more for controversy and division than the football itself. Number 10. The last World Cup for an entire generation. Perhaps the darkest prediction has nothing to do with controversy or results. It is the reality that World Cup 2026 may be the final appearance for an entire generation of football icons. Every tournament eventually becomes a farewell. Players who defined an era grow older, and no matter how great they are, time eventually catches them. Some legends will leave with trophies and unforgettable moments, Others may exit quietly after a painful defeat. Football rarely provides perfect endings. For millions of fans, the tournament may feel less like the beginning of something new and more like the final goodbye to the players who helped define an entire generation of football memories.